Brown's the sort of designer everyone wants to work with anyway, every supervisor wants to work with, so I was delighted that I got the chance to. It was my first time working with him. I think each design is very individual and he has put his little mark on it. For example, the Ladybird fairy is one of our favourite designs, we really loved it. It's just sort of cheeky, it's paired with a pair of boots that makes it sort of it's funny, a funny little element. So this is we call her our forest fairy. This is quite funny because Paul couldn't decide what fabric he wanted to use for this fairy, so we just decided to use all 7 samples that we picked. I mean, he was incredible. He worked right up until a couple of weeks before he passed away, and he worked tirelessly and emailed me all the time. These are one of the many sets of fairy wings we had to make. They prong into the back of a costume and then are fixed in so they stay in position all the time, so when they run around stage they sort of flutter without falling out. Everything is covered in glitter. That's a real Paul Brown thing, you need to cover things in glitter.
With Paul, he was very clear with what he wanted, so every sketch that he did, he really kind of looked at the chorus and he individually kind of worked out what he wanted them to look like. The weird thing with this is basically the head attachments, we had to make them part of the wig as opposed to just plopping them on the top and pinning them. They were basically stitched, and we created wig cages. We had to try and make them as light as possible but also relive the actual design.
Paul had a great sense of humour, and working with Crystal, who is a great master of comedy, meant that the whole process was just a complete riot of fun. In fact, the biggest issue was reining them in so that it, had a great sort of shape to it, but didn't become a complete overkill. The thing he really wanted to get in was a number of surprises, and that he managed to do. We have a steam train which breaks through the backdrop and completely surprises the audience with steam and sound. The sets look lavish and the costumes look exquisite. But he had to work really hard to deliver his concept to the budget we had.
What Paul has done so well, I think, is managed to make a production that's incredibly funny, but is also really, really beautiful. I mean, the fairies' costumes, they're all based on those Victorian flower fairies, and I think it's just mixing that comedy and beauty together that he really nailed. He would have been very proud of this because it looks, I believe, as he wanted it to look, and the reception it's had has been really astonishing.